with Sanjana and get some help?
Yes, ma'am, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. In a socially distanced world, Design United is an optimistic digital platform for collaborative design and connection. Socially distanced world, Design United is an optimistic digital platform for collaborative design and connection. Design United was created in March 2020 during a period of intense lockdown and quarantine measures within the region. The aim behind Design United was to create an optimistic space for regional dialogue, connections, collaborations, and opportunities for young regional designers and design practices. A much needed network of support and peer mentorship during these uncertain times. Talented young designers and design studios working on design innovation with an approach that is relevant to our South Asian region have been invited to be a part of the platform. We also encourage design students from the region to share their work, be involved in the dialogue, and to be an active part of Design United. Design United, most of all, believes in creating a community of designers and design knowledge that is largely contextual, with focus on contributing to the environment and our community. Design United believes greatly in a spirit of collaboration and idea exchange. Welcome to Design United's 30th Design Conversation and our 7th mentorship module. Mentorship and constructive criticism is essential to nourishing designers. Today, we will be in conversation with two renowned architects, Yanto Effendi from MODERNSPACE Indonesia and architect Ajit Andagere from AA India. I'm Varna Shashidhar, founder principal of a regional landscape practice, VSLA, based in Bengaluru. I'm supported by Clayworks Spaces in this endeavor. Clayworks creates flexible co-work spaces that focus on productivity and sustainability. I'm also supported by a wonderful team from Design United and VSLA in this endeavor. Design Conversation has featured talented emerging designers from our region, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, selected for their innovative approaches and practices that have a deep resonance with the place they are from. We've also had brilliant mentors, regional designers with great expertise and commitment to mentoring younger generation of designers. This November 28th, we have two incredible structural engineers from South Asia, Mr. Manjunath, an innovative structural engineer from India, who will be joined by engineer Mr. Deepal Vikramasinghe, an associate of Jeffrey Bawa, who will be discussing the renovation of the Bentota Beach Hotel. So please continue to join us every week on Saturdays, same time, 4:30 for the conversation. With this background to Design United, let's move to the much anticipated presentation and conversation this evening. I'm delighted to welcome our inspiring presenting designers, architect Yanto Effendi from MODERNSPACE Jakarta, Indonesia, and architect Ajit Andagere from Magadi, India. Their presentation will be followed by a moderated discussion. It's indeed a privilege to introduce our presenting designers. Yanto Effendi from MODERNSPACE Indonesia. Yanto's design philosophy focuses on the creation of modern architectural forms and spaces that are comfortable and livable. He believes that no two buildings can adopt the same design, as each project constitutes a specific response to its program and its site. He established MODERNSPACE, a multidisciplinary, well-recognized architectural practice in Jakarta in 2002 with his partner, Hanny Lim. The firm's work spans a vast array of typologies, including residential, institutional, hospitality, offices, and retail environments. MODERNSPACE is well recognized in the region for its detailed material exploration, which they bring to every project that they undertake. Yanto is also a much sought after design presenter and an academic, sharing his work extensively in the region. So we're extremely privileged to have him share his work with emerging designers and students of design from South Asia through our platform. Welcome, Yanto. Our second presenting designer started Andagere Architects, AA, an interdisciplinary architecture and design firm that was established in 2002, the same year that Yanto established MODERNSPACE. Ajit established AA on a site near Hampi, Karnataka. Today, AA operates from its rural base in Gollarapalya village, Magadi, near Bangalore city. AA is dedicated to the belief that architecture is a socially responsible and environmentally respectful pursuit. To this end, AA focuses on designs that are inclusive and those that interact sympathetically with their surroundings. AA tends to nurture traditional and vernacular styles of design through optimum use of local building materials and techniques. Ajit has founded the Samrakshana India to document the vernacular heritage of India. Welcome to Design Conversation, Ajit and Yanto. We're truly honored to have you both join us today to share your approaches and design journey. We would like to request Yanto to please share his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, let me check the screen first. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I can start now. No, thank you, Varna, for introducing me. Firstly, I would like to thank Design United for inviting me to this presentation evening. Thank you also for Spandan, Maitri, Wishma for arranging this talk. Let me do a short presentation. It's about 30 minutes, but I don't, hopefully it's enough time for me to present a short brief of my works. So MODERNSPACE is like basically an architecture firm. We do design in architectures and interior architecture. We basically do the design on the scope of residential, commercial, and hospitality. So as a brief, this is like our parameter when we do design. We like to try to break all the analysis into this kind of parameters so that we can control and we can study the specific site, specific program to get the solution for the perfect solution for the design. Initial ideas and course. We on the first trial of on the first time we get the appointment. We try to study the sites, study what's the core problem of the sites that we can resolve and resolve it into a design language. We study the form and geometry through this is the process in our office that sometimes we do models just to study the forms. And then we do 3D studies also from framework studies into the basic renderings. just to see how the material and the colors and the schemes work out together. And each of our designs, basically, I would love to have natural lights and natural ventilations coming in into all the sites. So every site, every specific site that we receive, either is small or big, we always try to analyze the potential of the sun, natural sunlight, natural air to come into our buildings. So when we try to do this, we know that the effect is the heat. So during this period of time, we would extensively try to study how, like inside our space, how to make the space quite a thermal comfort in order for me to get the most optimum light to come into the space. But we can also reduce the heat to prevent it to make the thermal comfort inside our space. And the materiality we choose it depends on the mood, depends on the program, depends on the specific mood that we want to create at the space. The material and the details itself we create to solve each of the finishes that we have to collect with into the space itself. All after the form and everything, the space is created. We also try to solve every details of the particular corner, particular joints, so that it is all we are trying to have a well thought precise details to solve every corner of the materials that we use, so that everything will work out well together by joining all the materials and to create the space. This is some material that we're using. We're using textures, smooth textures, rough textures, and then some of the character of the material itself to create the specific functions. Like nowadays, we like to study some kind of screens, secondary screens, because we felt that when we have a wall to cover the space, when it's heated by the sun, this wall should radiate the heat into the space inside the interior. So what we like to do is we try to have another layers of protections for the skin itself, so that we use some kind of isolator materials. We like to explore isolator materials so that it doesn't keep the heat in, so that it can filters the heat, so it doesn't reach the wall or it doesn't reach the glass that can transfer into the interior itself. All the finishes and the details that we're creating. This is just a rough introduction of what we're doing. We also solve the details of the like this kind of joints. After we do the discussion with the structural engineer, we try to get the aesthetics out of the joint that they recommend for us. So this is some of the parameters that we mostly use into our program and into our approach of the design. Nowadays, we have put quite an effort to the energy savings and passive coolings of our buildings, because we felt that when the building is created, we want the building to operate without any help of air conditioning, so that when we use the cross ventilation, it works. And then also the building itself, the parameters of the walls, floor, and the roofs, all the surfaces that surrounds the space that we create. We want to make sure that all the surfaces is quite cool, so that it doesn't transmit any heat into the space. So basically, most of our projects mostly is in Indonesia. We like to use these schemes of sun path. So in Indonesia particularly, we are at these regions. So the sun will be traveling from east to west, and during the 1 year time, the northern area will be lit up with the more durations of the suns, like a month of longer from the southern area of the area, and it's happened like in the hot season. So northern part will be hotter than and longer during that period, and the southern part is happening during the rainy season. So it starts shorter because the sun doesn't radiate that much because of the shaded of the clouds of the rainy season. So that's all the introductions of our brief projects that we're doing. So I wanted to present 3 projects, which I felt that these 3 projects is like a milestone for us to study specific use of material, specific use of solving of problems. Like in this house particularly, the project is about is happened about 2012. So we have this kind of projects that facing one area is facing west sun. So during that west sun period, during the 12 o'clock until the 4 o'clock time, there will be a heat transferring into the space. So this particular house is actually the one that we try to firstly study how we can protect the glass that we want to open for view, so that this glass it doesn't get heat from the sun. When it's not heated from the sun, hopefully that the space inside the area will be cooler by some of the protected materials. So we've done some analysis for this house. So normally the massing that we're doing, we would like to break it into a smaller part, so that hopefully that this smaller part can contribute when we open 2 sides, the air will be flowing quite okay. And then the character of the winds also depends on the openings, and the big and the small opening. It also affected the wind to create a wind tunnel and wind breeze inside the house. So this big massing, we try to have this area, we cut the area so that this massing will be shorter, and hopefully the breeze will come in. So we will divide the private and as a diagrammatic, we try to segregate the private and the public area. These are the schematic that we try to study for the wind. So this area is the west facing. So we try to treat this area so that it can protect more of these spaces behind from the heat. So we do some sunscreens here, and then since the owner has the hobby of keep fish pond, they want a koi pond, so we put it on the west side also, just to allow the air evaporates from the pool itself to cool. It's like a passive cooling for the space. When the breeze come in, it can blows in the evaporated heat water vapors. So in this particular house, we try to study the screen. Firstly, we on our earlier design, we try to use the screen by using the timber. But the timber itself, when we go on for the projects, we felt that the heaviness of the outdoor timber and the thickness of it required, so it's not bended, is quite heavy. So we try to find another alternative. Then at one time I was looking at the pool chair. They're using the synthetic rattan weavings. When we try to sit on that pool during the day, you won't feel hot when you sit on the chair. So I was thinking maybe this kind of material, this kind of isolator material, can be used to protect to screen the heat, so it's not going in, so it's not transferring the heat into the first layers. So what we do is we do the screen here, so the heat we tilted the screen so that the angle can protect the hot sun until it reaches the angle where we can allow the ray to come into the house, but this ray is already not very hot. So this weaving material, we were helped by the local weaving specialist. We felt that this material is isolator, so that it doesn't keep the heat inside this material. So when the sun hits these materials, hopefully it doesn't transfer or transmit any heat into the materials, and that doesn't conduct the heat also through the walls and everything, and it doesn't reach the glass. And it's happened quite amazingly wonderful, because when this is not installed yet, the glass is very hot. But after this screen is installed, we touch the glass and the glass doesn't feel any hot anymore. So it's guaranteed that the space inside also will be cool. So, oh yeah, this one is the mock-up. Sorry, I go back. This one is we try to draw the mock-ups, and then it's helped by the specialist to do the mock-ups, and then we install it into the screens. So we can create any forms with this kind of screens actually. So when the building is done, this is actually the space where the dining area is located. Below here is the koi pond. So the passive cooling is working over this part of area. This is the wet sun. This is the part where the entry area is. Sorry. Okay. So this is all the image of the house when it's finished. So I just briefly run through the house. So that's the dining area where is all glazed, and all facade is protected by the secondary skins of these weaving materials. After this house, that's why I will try to present this house, because this house is like a stepping stone for us to create another projects after this that are we try to perfect the projects after this to like study how the room temperature can be controlled by this kind of sun shading devices. This is actually a small house, and this is at the second level of the house. The room temperature inside this house is quite protected. So after a year of the completions, we come back to the house, and we saw that the house is getting better and better, because when people have already inhabited the house becoming more lively. This is the space where we come back a year after to visit the owners, and we bring our team to like go around the house and see and enjoy the house that we did. Okay, the second project is like is a workspace. So this is a workspace that that we do. The owners wanted to have this particular workspace that that can go up from a normal way of working, because they are now working on a cubicle basis, like department by department is compartmentalized. So each of the department doesn't talk to each other. So they want some kind of a happy, fun office in to change the surroundings and the way of their working environment. So we have the lots like at this yellow area here. This lot is like irregular plots. Here is there's a helipad here. Here's a shopping mall here. There's a hotel here, and all these parts is the factory areas. So this is actually the factory factory of headquarter office that produce the smoking cigarette papers. So here's the site, about 2.4 hectare. We try to divide the site into two areas. Here is we allocate the space for the public car parks and motorbikes parks. So here's the location, because this irregular part we try to fit in the requirements of the parking facility. And this area, we try to put the main program office. The main office building is here. This is the receptions building. So the flow will be from this gate. We have to go all the way here until the receptions area, checked in, and then they can be distributed to the office and to the factory area. So we would like to do some like a resort type of office where it is protected by a lot of greens area and a lot of trees, because over here we felt that now it's too dry and not as much tree as we have right now. So we would like to name it a green oasis for this particular projects. So we would be thinking to plant a lot of big trees and protect the sites also. Hopefully by the shaded of the trees, also the ground area will be protected from the heat, and then the heat itself doesn't transfer and create a hotter microclimate around this area. So after several years of practice after that particular house, we try to intense our study to resolve the heat problems. Sorry, I need to check the power first. Okay, we try to study how the heat reacts to the certain microclimate that we create. When we do some architectures on the site, we will definitely change the microclimate and the surroundings of that area. So in order to enhance that, we will try to like equalize the area so that it doesn't get hotter. What we do is we try to protect the hardscape with the trees, and we would like to also plant a lot of gardens in area just to absorb the heat into the ground. So this is the perspective aerial view. Actually, there's a more concept on the programming conceptual, but I didn't maybe I didn't have time to really elaborate this functional area. But what I'm trying to elaborate here is the way we first study further for the way how to protect the and to surround the heat, to protect the buildings and to create the passive cooling and thermal comfort for these buildings. So this is actually a diagrammatic functions for all the interiors that we wanted, that all the floors can enjoy all the greens area, and all the we will insert greens and water into each of the slabs. This is the diagram. And then also it is pertaining to the programs also. For they wanted to have intense collaborations now. Each of the departments should meet each other in every places they can start to have a dialogue and have a conversation. That so the creative moment will happen hopefully after we open up the office, and they can like blend with each other, bump into each other in the staircase area, in the public area. Then they can sit at that provided space, that either it is interior or it is exterior. They can talk, and hopefully they will generate some new ideas and collaborative way of thinking. So the orange part here, we try to create quite a big staircase area to connect all these floors. And this staircase area, we can utilize it for functions. First, we can utilize for functions that like a amphitheater. Below here, we can use it up for the meeting area. The lower part, we can collaborate with the space over here to create some kind of we call it an infill area that we can function multi-purposely. Here is a brief to elaborate this area. So below these stairs, we create it's like a section of these stairs, and we try to create this diagram where we can have a storage, and then when we drag and pull it, we can have a storage area, and then we can have the working space, an additional working space when they want to have a moment to read books, like small library and working space. We can drag this cabinet out and have another zone of space here. And then they can sports also. We have a ping pong tennis table that can also act as a meeting area. And then some more, we have storage to keep these chairs. And when we have, they want to have some briefings or small seminars, they can use up this space also. So it acts like a multi-purpose usage for this particular space. So this is the way we move the furnitures later. And then some more, we have this staircase also act as a patio or a buffer space for heats. So the main, the concept is the main building is protected by this space gap that can protect the main building from the heat. So this one is an outdoor area, this one will be an indoor area. So at this particular staircase, we try to protect this area also with the screen, but for these screens, we're trying to explore. We try to do some screens with the green planter. So hopefully that when the plants climbs up the screen, it can screen up all the staircase behind. So that hopefully that the air quality, and during the morning time they can spread out oxygen more. Then the breeze also can be quite refreshing for the staircase zone area there. So this is the study of the 3Ds. So hopefully when this screens is already full of plants, these plants also can act as screens, and some more can act as a view from the office. Every window can see the greens from all over the space of the working space. So this one is the concept of the screens. We try to do something. We custom the details of the pots. This is too small. We have the. So we try to custom the pots with we try to do it with the custom fiber cast with all the system of watering and everything, and we place it like randomly place it into the structural skin, and then we put a wire mesh and then we put the plants, and hopefully the plants will someday cover up all the screens here. And when it's covered up with the full green area, the room temperature behind that the green space hopefully can reduce the temperatures and create a comfort microclimate behind the staircase area there. This one is the early model study actually for the headquarters. There's some study of the space interior. I just so what we try to do here is like every corner of the space we would like to later on each of the stations that the place of working can see the water, can see the greens. So it's like a biophilic feelings of space. So this one is like a one corner can face the staircase area where later on, when this green area of the screen has fill up the screen, then they can enjoy the greenery also. This one is the some of the interior parts, interior space. So this one is actually the meeting area below the stairs that we try to use up and optimize all the space. And the lower part here is the area where previously we've done the multi-purpose combinations of space. So over here we create like a space of melting pot, so that everybody when they pass, they see this kind of space, they can sit, they can bump into each other, and they can discuss something over this area of space that we have created, and they can see the greens also. This was the meeting rooms. Behind below this the big staircase. The play within the voids, the double volumes, and because it is an open office, we try to provide also some of the spaces where they can have a quiet moments. So we create this kind of pods. So when there are needs for some people to work more private, more alone space, they can use up this. They can use this space to work. And we put it some of them we put it on the voids on a double heights area. Here, like they can act as a bridge. They can see the what happens below, and then what happens at the staircase area, and then they can see the green all around the sides. This is all the melting pots there. And besides the normal working desk that we provide, open office, and where they have this kind of melting pots areas also where they can do their coffee machine will be put here. They can do coffee, and then they can just have this small discussion here. This is the impressions of the interiors of the working space. Here we have a ramps also that climbs up into towards the to connect all the floors until the roofs area. A big meeting area. So this is the impression that we wanted to have. This at the entrance area where we are welcomed by the small portions of the landscape. The gates open during the day. The gates will be closed. This is the entry points where this is all the corridors towards the reception building, and this is all the greens that we want to achieve later. And we would prefer that all this building later will be covered by all the trees and not as bare as this, so that when we go inside, all we see is all the greens and trees and all the shaded area by the landscape. So this one, we take out some of the trees actually for the purpose of the 3Ds to see the buildings. But actually, we were hoping that later on this area will be covered up all with the repetitions of trees. So this building now is under construction. As you see here is the some of the mock-ups that we're doing. This is the green pottery that we try to stick into the screens for the cripples to grow. So this is the it's like 2 weeks ago photo when we go and visit the site. Hopefully that this December the building itself can be finished and we can be continued to the interior parts, and hopefully next year we can also already see the buildings done. This is some of the sites photo that I took like 2 weeks ago. So this is the frameworks of the green screens that we're trying to create, and this is all the staircase where connects all the floor area. Each of the floor area. This building is like four stories. At the top here is the roof area where the greens and roof decks is an open roof decks areas. This mess here is this messing is actually a multi-purpose hall, and below is the gallery. They want the gallery for them to like exhibit their old machinery for factory machinery. They would like to put it there and have a little gallery to welcome the guest that comes to the office. So this is all the ramps that connects. We have all the circulations that can connect all the surroundings of the buildings, and we can go like we can go fluidly through the buildings, go from outside, inside, and then go to the staircase. So we grow the trees from small. Actually, it's from nurturing the trees from small. Now it's quite high already. It's like it's been planted like around 6 months. Hopefully, there's another 6 months that it can grow taller. We're using the eucalyptus trees here. This is the main structures where later this steels can we try to put a fiber pot over there just to grow the trees, and below part here is also a green area later for the roof garden. All the roof gardens is meant to protect the concrete itself also from the heat, so that hopefully by all these means the room temperature behind this this space that we've created can create a better cooling system and cool microclimate inside this area. Okay, the third project is actually we would like to show. Actually, just early of this year, we are invited to have a collaborations with the material suppliers to create an installations. It just happened this January. Just right after this January, this exhibition, we held an exhibition for 3 days. Then we are all shut down by the COVID. So luckily, this have a chance to be exhibited already. So for these installations, because we are like eager to study the way buildings can operate within this tropical environments that we have. So it's wiser for us to study from the vernacular buildings, the adaptive buildings, old adaptive vernacular buildings, how they construct, how these kind of houses before can stand towards the weather, towards the humidity, the sun, the heat, and the ventilations. So all these things we try to extract. Actually, basically, it's a simple house. They built the house with all the timber constructions. They're using the local timbers and at the nearby area because during that old time they don't have enough transportation. So what they can look is just the material surrounding the nearest nearby environment. So what they can get is coconut wood, teak wood, or sometimes they use bamboo. So this kind of material is the main structures of their buildings. And the wall itself, they create the weavings of the sliced bamboo, so they can create the perforated walls. So this kind of wall interests me to create this kind of installations. So it's just the rough sketch where we study from the original and we try to distill the form from there. So what we do here is we are given the size about 3 meters by 21 meters. So what we take is that we try to divide the grid modules based on the material. So here we only use 2 materials as the timber structures for the main frameworks. We are using the plywood system. So the plywood is cut to become a plank. Then this plank is we try to arrange it to become the structural element, rigid structural element, and that we try to arrange it within that grid area. The module itself is we try to get it from the module of the plywood 1.2 by 2.4. So we cut the modules also so that it has a minimum waste, because the size of the plank itself is another grids of the 1.2 meters. So we here's some kind of a stacking of the modularity for the slabs, the structure connection for all this, and then this imitates the structures of the old vernacular house. At that old house, they're using the solid timber from coconut or teak or bamboo. Here we use the plywood recycled. It can be renewed, and then we cut it into a plank. Then this kind of planks is it acts as a rigid structures, the triangle structures. We covered some of the part with another plywood act as a wall, and we study also the paneling. We try to study a simple weaving from the bamboo. They call the old weaving is the gedek, as a gedek. So we try to restudy the gedek weaving into a new way interpretation. So we are this is what the model that we're trying to come up. We try to create a circulations area that can pass through, and then they have another double story floor, so that people can climb up to the second floor and then goes down again here. And this going down staircase can act also as an amphitheater for watching some of the process of the way how this building is created. So with bamboo, is this old built with bamboo? We try to modify it. We collaborate with the local weaving specialists, create these panels. Okay, we have some video here to show. This is how we collaborate with the timber specialists and the weaving specialists to create this installation. We're using plywoods as a structures. Here we're using the not the synthetic, we're using the real rattans for the screens. It's a prefab. It's created on a factory. Then we install it very fast on a site. This is our exercise, just to add our another knowledge of ours to as another way of constructing the buildings based on the vernacular studies. So this is the results of the exhibitions. We collaborate also with the lighting designers just to light up the space of these installations. This is the space inside and outside. It's too bad that we didn't try this installation on the outdoor, because I would really love to see this installation at the outdoor area where the sun casted into the space and how the shadows created into this area. This is the details, and it's been here installed for 3 days only. After that, the exhibition is only for 3 days. Too bad, cannot enjoy this space longer. It's all the details, connections. We discuss also with the engineer specialist at the suppliers of the timber, so that we can discuss the joints and everything, how many bolts should be used, and how to like strengthen or make fix the structures of the triangle. So the floors also we raised. Actually, this kind of method is what we extract from what we learn from the wisdom of the vernacular house. They raise the floors also just to throw all the humidity below the ground, so that the floor is detached from the ground, so that all the floor will be not as humid as when we really stack it into the floor. Because in Jakarta or in Indonesia, some of the area is quite humid. Is the space inside. Okay, I think that's my 3 projects presentations. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time from my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Yanto, for sharing your very interesting work, detailed material explorations, and your method of working. Really appreciate it.
With this, we would now like to invite Architect Ajit to share his work. Thank you.
Architect Ajit, Grishma will be sharing the screen.
Yes, that would be good.
Great.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Ajit, and thank you, Design United team, to welcome me to talk about this. So today, I'm going to talk about not just the project, the life and the journey so far in our practice. Next. Yeah, this photographs, if you on a normal days, in the morning or evening, anywhere in the country, you go there, you see so many kids. In the country, we have 315 million. That means almost 31 crores of students are like studying at the moment. So in 15 years down the line, they need almost 15 crore houses for them. So there is so much demand in this country for housing, or supported building schools and hospitals. So Next. So is the question, and again, this is one more example talking about Bangalore city, how, in 1973 till now, what is the green versus built? You can see in the image, in 73, it was pretty much green, almost only 7% was built. In 2020, there's hardly any green left. It's most of the ground is covered with built form, tarmac, concrete, or, so that's the situation. This is just an example of one city in this country, and even the small towns and the villages are getting crowded. So my question always, like asking myself, how do we as an architect play an important role, not just looking at the design and how the elevation or what technique I use, like beyond. So that's a journey. Through a small practice, we're kind of trying to ask this question and trying to find a solution, through our own, the kind of projects we handle. Yeah, so how would we prepare for this, to face this crisis? So we will see whether do we have a solution or what is the mindset, at least we follow in our practice. Next. Yeah, this is the situation. In the pictures you can see, in summer, we build home for, protection from all the elements, but in summer, people, like most of the, the plains and, the area in the country, people sleep on the roof. So after building a house, we have to sleep on the roof or in the verandas. And on the bottom picture, you can see a lot of, the natural resources like aluminum and steel and copper, gypsum, it's kind of, we're removing it. So do we have enough for this kind of demand, what we're going to see already we're seeing it in the country in terms of the build form, which we need to build. And that's the other picture you can see, like in North India, the kind of air cons, which is like without that, we can't live. So that's the situation we are in. So yeah, this picture speaks the current situation. So here, I'm going to briefly talk about sustainability. What is the meaning of sustainability? Not just in architecture, even in our life, how we can minimize the impact on the, on the Mother Earth or on the planet. So, yeah, next. So again, going back to how people is to build in this country, like architecture without architects, we've just taken photograph from, few states, just to give an idea how people used to build, why they used to build. Next. In this image, you can look at Kashmir or Himachal or Rajasthan or Tamil Nadu, Kerala. It's the style of architecture and the material they use, the form, the scale, everything was different. Why? Because they built for the context from the local available material. And based on the context and the local available material, the craft developed. For example, in Rajasthan, you don't get much of wood, so they build it, and also it's the temperature goes up to 45 degrees in summer, and also in the evening the temperature comes down. So how did they tackle this without having any technology or electricity? So this is an amazing, observation which we all see around us in our country. So every 50 or 100 kilometers you travel, the style of architecture kind of changes. So the next slide, which will show you the modern houses built with architects or contractors or with education, So next. I've taken the photograph from the same state where we so-called architects and engineers, what we're doing in general, I'm talking about, it's pretty much for me, it looks the same. Just the color or the, the form changes a bit. So in a country like India, you travel wherever. The modern India is pretty much looks the same. It's like a McDonald's culture where, burger in Paris or, Delhi or Jakarta tastes the same. Same way the architecture started looking pretty similar throughout the country, irrespective of what is the context and, what is the topography and the skill set. So everything is getting standardized. Next. So just coming to, our story. It's through our practice and our team, how we are kind of addressing this issue on project basis or on a daily basis. So we believe for an architect, it's not just what we produce or our expression is important. The way we live, what is the environment we create around us, that's also play a very important role in our practice and in our life. So that's the journey so far. The picture speaks. This is the team, and we live in a village, and we own a farm, and our office is run by a 130-year-old courtyard house. So all the architects and interns and engineers doing projects all across the country. Next. And our approach to our life and the architecture, it's kind of related to each other, and simplicity and minimalism, and we believe in less is more. So whatever really necessity, we kind of take it up. So that reflects on our projects as well, where we try to minimize the number of the kind of materials or number of material which goes into our building. Of course, it's not easy in today's world, to get so minimal, because you get tempted all around, us on a daily basis. But we are trying our best to minimize the usage of material and the spaces. Next. So this is the kind of people, the team behind our work, which worked in various aspects of the projects. And next. Next. Yeah, so, for us, when you get a project, it's we try to utilize the material which is less as possible industrially produced, and less as possible, getting it done from the machineries. So we try to give work to hands, and also we try to use traditional material. It can be mud, it can be wood, even in wood, a lot of different varieties of locally sourced wood. We refuse to buy any imported wood. We try to procure from Karnataka, which is the state where we live. And also we're trying to use non-forest timber like coconut and areca, so on. So we kind of, after doing many projects, we realized that we play such an important role to, one is by doing a project and utilizing this material and the craft. Two, you're also supporting the craft. The country like India, the craft which is dying, for example, the potters, or the blacksmith, or the panel beaters, or even a stone cutter to mud plasterer. There are very few masons in every state who knows how to do for example, a redoxite floor or even a lime plaster. Earlier, 50 years ago, every mason knew how to do this. So it's an effort from our side to kind of encourage these craft in our project, no matter what scale or what size. And so we've been successful to a level to utilize or support this the craft in our project. Next. This is some of the images from our on-site projects in various stages. Next. Yeah, the picture speaks. So I'm going to show a lot of photographs in this half an hour. And also we build models, like the old school method. Each project will have a study model to, while designing the project. Then once the design gets frozen, so we build a wooden model, pretty much detailed one, and we keep it on site. So what happens, in most of the projects, we try to keep it on site. Sometimes we're not able to keep it. So the team get to see how the building looks like. And the team will know, in today's practice, many of the masons or the carpenters, they may not have an entire picture of the building. They just, given a particular task to do. But here, like, they also feel proud. We wanted to engage them into the whole process of the building, at least feel proud about what they're building. Even their, their involvement can be like just a month or 2 months in the project, but they'll feel proud about what they're building. Next. We're getting into, a few projects. The first project is it's called Swarga, in Kannada, or the meaning is heaven. So the client named that house as a heaven. It's a farmhouse for a client who grew up in Bangalore, who kind of picked up a farm about 60 kilometers from Bangalore. And he lives pretty much 5 days a week now. He also has the granite quarry next door, so he works from home. This is the model, the finished model, which we kind of at the site, we've taken a picture. Next. That's the site portion of the site plan, which kind of gives you an idea how the farm is. Again, our role, our involvement into any project, it doesn't restrict only being an architect or architectural services. We also get into doing interiors and landscaping, also help the client to build. So it's a design and build involvement we get into pretty much most of the projects. Sometimes if the project is far away or it's bigger than what we can handle in terms of construction, then we kind of just manage the coordination. So yeah, this is a farmhouse, 2-bedroom. The area is quite dry and arid. It's surrounded with a lot of boulders. So in summer, again, the temperature can go up to 35 to 45. So we spend a lot of time on, working on various options. Even our first option was to bury the entire house because the nature around is so powerful. We didn't want to go head on with the nature, but the client somehow asked us not to bury the house because he couldn't really relate to the space. He never seen something like that. So we had to build above. Next. That's the kind of site, which is the top picture with the horses. So the client is a animal lover. So he has cows and goats and chickens and horses. So even though he is a granite quarry owner, so he said, I wanted something, using a local material, like, anybody comes to my house, they shouldn't feel like overwhelmed. So it should, built with known materials. So I don't want to show my wealth or, my, character through the house so much, because people, when you say, oh, I'm a granite quarry owner, they feel like, okay, you're a flamboyant guy and you're a rich guy. So he's like, no, I don't want to, showcase my life like that. At the end of the day, I'm a simple guy. So we've decided, okay, he had a lot of waste of granite. So that, on the left bottom picture, you can see that's like a waste slab. So that becomes a foundation. We buried this on the ground, wherever the walls was. So above that, we started building the, wall. Again, the wall, we made sun-dried adobe bricks, which is not done from the machine. It's a very age-old method of making a mold, wood or a metal mold, and making a, mixing the earth and clay and sand and lime. And we, again, for the external wall, we used, 6 to 8% of cement as a stabilizer. And we used predominantly coconut timber for the roof of this project. Next. That's some of the images of the process. Next. Yeah, that's the exposed adobe wall. In this project, we rendered the entire wall, plastered the wall with the lime plaster. Next. You can see, the building coming up with, again, the farm had a lot of eucalyptus trees, which we removed all of it because it sucks a lot of water from the ground. And also water is an issue in this area of outside Bangalore. Next. This is the finished image of this is a courtyard. So, in North Karnataka, even the South Karnataka, the common feature you see in the vernacular houses for the courtyard, sometimes, you have a door, main door, you feel like you're entering into the house, but no, you're kind of entering into a courtyard first. So there is a transition of space, before you really enter to the house. So we kind of taken that essence of the village houses and try to adopt in our the new projects. Here you can see the lime plastered wall with a hardwood wooden shutter, which kind of, this is the shot taken from inside to the outside. Next. This is the image of the dining, kitchen, and the living space. So where, as I said, inside and outside we rendered with lime, and the flooring is a polished. It's called oxide, which is quite a popular, vernacularly. So we used gray color, and the roof is completely made out of coconut, a laminated coconut timber. Next. That's a shot of the kitchen. Even the kitchen counter, you can see it's rendered with polished cement, and even the dadoing, we hardly use tiles. Again, we try to make everything on site instead of buying something which is you get to see that in other 1,000 homes. Next. That's the left one is the shot is the corridor where you can see the eucalyptus trees, what we cut from the farm. It becomes a structural member for the columns. The right side is the master bedroom, where we kept a very minimal size windows with the wooden shutter, no glass here. So the client wanted a very cozy bedroom. Whenever he wants the light, he wants to open the windows. Next. Yeah, that's the shot where we created a few ponds. One is a larger pond. Eventually, we wanted to convert it into a natural pool, which kind of around the boulders. Next. This is a master bathroom where it's courtyard. The experience of for me, this is contemporary because today the idea or the concept of bathroom have changed. It's more of a space rather than just a toilet or a small space. So this is one of the most popular space in the house, where the experience of taking a shower in this bathroom is something else. So we kind of, around the boulders, we space. Next. That's the right side is the outdoor toilet for the next to the party area. Next. The right side is the cow shed, which is again a roof made completely in a different technique, which is completely local, without using any sawn timber, without using a rafters. Where in the main house we use the sawn timber as a rafter. Here, everything is a circular, like a poles, kambas, which is a eucalyptus and nilgiri, casuarina, sorry, and we're using coir rope and areca nut to tie the roof. This is where people have forgotten how to build this roof. Even the villagers, kind of from the surrounding areas, they came and they were really happy. Somebody's building this kind of roof, and this skill set is still alive. So for us also, it was a kind of an exercise to know, can we build a similar roof to our shape and size? That's the landscaping where, as I said, we kind of use the local boulders without moving, created lily ponds, and also it acts as a rainwater harvesting open ponds. Next. That's a patio where, what we observed in our traveling in the villages, south to central India, the life happens in a veranda because we are blessed with amazing weather. So in this house, it's a very small house in terms of the square footage, but the verandas and patios, so it kind of makes it bigger. So as we created a shelter to enjoy the nature around. So that's the kind of concept or the idea we worked on this project. Next. That's the shot when you enter the house. You can see the main door, and it's quite interesting. As you come close to the main door, you still see the single rock which is behind. As soon as you enter, it kind of disappears till you travel the entire house. When you come to the other end of the house, suddenly it kind of appears. So we created a kind of a story inside, to, each space, even though it's small, but it's kind of tickles you when you're in that house. You kind of feels like, wow, I've never realized this space is hidden inside. So things like that. And landscaping wise, we designed the edible garden. We trained the client how to maintain the edible garden around the house using permaculture principles. Next. The next project is, again, completely different purpose and a scale. This is the government science museum project, again, north of Bangalore, about 100 kilometers, where next. That's the site. It's pretty dry. Again, you get about 15 to 20 inch of rain annually. And again, the temperature goes up to 42, 45 degree maximum in summer. It's a 200-acre land where government, the science department of Karnataka and the university, so they kind of came together to build this project. It will go on for next 25 years. So we involved in the first phase of building a science museum, which has an auditorium and next and the exhibition space for the science models, especially targeting the school kids. That's the kind of a base site just before we started building. Next. This is the initial sketch to understand. The left side is the building, where we did kind of went around that site up to about 40 kilometers to observe how people used to build. We kind of got inspiration from a couple of houses and a temple, which is more than 200-year-old. We thought, okay, this is where the solution. So you need, your skin, which is the envelope, should be thick as possible. And your opening should be as minimal as possible, where you don't, get in a lot of sunlight. The sunlight comes with the heat. Then how do you cool it? Next. So that's a rendering, 3D rendering of the. So we thought, let's build from what is available on the site, and try to keep it minimal as possible. So we came up to build a rammed earth technique walls, where you don't need a lot of masons to do this. You need one head mason, someone who knows how to do the formwork and the plumb line. Rest you need a workforce with the shoulder power. So it's also a kind of we wanted to showcase to the local villages. There's a different technique. It's not a local technique. And the granite, Bangalore is a granite country, so not very far from here was a granite quarry. And we wanted to see, can we use, since it is a public building, where it can, can afford to use this material, which will last for, 300, 400 years. Next. So initially we, tried, again, the client, the government didn't know about what is rammed earth. So we had to do a lot of samples to understand and to come up with a costing and to showcase, how the wall will look. So even the local MLA and the other bureaucrats kind of got convinced, and we decided to build. The external envelope, the wall is 1.5 foot thick, a load-bearing structure. Internally, we used a frame structure with concrete pillars, and the partition walls are made with sun-dried adobe walls. Next. That's the other shot. So you can see the formwork, what we developed after seeing many, many examples from around the world. We kind of came up with a very simple technique, a solution which works for us. We went for a manual ramming. We could have gone for the pneumatic ramming, but we felt like, we wanted to showcase this, how our hand power can create such a thick and a strong wall. And the roof, we went ahead with a filler slab to create a void in the roof, the bottom side of the roof. And also it becomes a thermal insulation. Our original idea was to make it as a green roof by growing aloe vera on top. So because in future we wanted to use aloe vera, harvest aloe vera for the lime plaster, things like that. And also aloe vera doesn't require a lot of water. It kind of grows from the moisture, what it attracts. Next. That's some of the images at the time of construction. Just to give you a size of the building, it's about 16,000 square foot, this building, which has an auditorium and few courtyards. Next. Next. Yeah, these are some of the on-site picture at the time of construction. This is the front facade where we, kind of worked out, carefully worked out to hide the window or even a lintel, so or even a roof beam, which you kind of seamless rammed earth, which doesn't require any paint or plaster. Even we kind of oiled the wall to avoid any kind of acts as a glue. Just when kids come and they touch the wall, and we don't want any till it's set, because we added lime. It takes a little longer time to get it harder. Next. I've visited a few buildings in Asia where rammed earth, which is 600-year-old, 5-story tall, built without much of any of those modern binders, which is absolutely fine. So that kind of inspired me to use this without any hesitation. And yeah, next. Going to a next project, which is it's a hospitality project in Andaman Island, which is the far east of India, in the Bay of Bengal, where again, locally there was no this architectural history per se, because it's the who people are staying there. They are settlers in last 50 or 60 years after the independence, and the tribes, Andamanese tribes, they never used to build permanent structure. So there's nothing to kind of hang on to as a taking an inspiration. Again, the client, he's a European client, wanted to build a 7-bedroom boutique villa in a 1-acre plot. So he wanted to, his brief was to create a contemporary Indian architecture. But unfortunately, we couldn't get all the material from the island. We had to ship some of the modern materials from the mainland India. Next. That's, you can see the building, which is of the site. It's a areca nut, or supadi in Hindi, is a plantation touching the rainforest. And this picture where we made sure that client planted a lot of trees and he respected. So he did. Now whatever trees we planted, because there's an issue in the slopey land when you have a clay soil, even though it's a seismic zone, and in monsoon there's a lot of examples of landslides. So we made sure that where we planted a lot of trees, which are deep-rooted trees, which holds the soil, which also helps in our building without any landslides or damage to the building. Next. That's some of the initial sketch, which on site. All this design happens on site, the initial idea at least. I won't say this, our construction technique, what we used here is completely sustainable, because after testing the soil, it was not good to build with any of the earthen technique, because we had to buy a lot of sand to stabilize it and add a lot of cement for the clay soil. So then we kind of, okay, how do you draw the balance? So we kind of bought cement blocks from locally available, and also the structure had to be designed for a seismic zone. Next. But in return, we said, let's use the craftsmen to use, and the other material like wood and bamboo and natural stone to create this space. Again, the stone also had to, there's no stones available in Andaman. So we had to ship it from mainland, where here our involvement was design and build and complete, where the client was staying in UK. So we managed it this project from Magadi or from Bangalore. Next. Next. This is the entry into the Jalakara, the property, where it's quite green. It's tropical. It's beautiful to to be there or spend a few days as a tourist or anyone who lives there as well. Next. Yeah, this again in Andaman, in summer, even though it rains so much, there's a scarcity of water. So we kind of worked out a method to collect almost 150,000 liters of water from the roof, and we use that as a backup in the summer. So this is the local technique where people build up to 1 meter high wall, then woven bamboo. So we kind of this is the kitchen and the service space, the office and the laundry happens here in the courtyard. And I didn't speak about it. We encourage a village of potters to make this pottery tiles. It's not machine made. It's still the potters does it, which is really unfortunate. Earlier, before the introduction of Bangalore tile, a lot of the houses across the country were done with the country tiles, done in different technique, some on the wheel, some on the mold. So we kind of trying to revive that and use it in our projects. Next. That's the pool pavilion with the local landscaping. You kind of worked around. Next. That's the view from the pool deck. Underneath, we have the the water storage. Because of the slope, we got that space instead of filling that entire space to create a platform. That's the open pavilion, which acts as a lounge, dining, and yoga space, and a mini bar. Again, the technique, the woven teak, which is again a local. You can see even a tree protector, like the forest department uses after planting a tree, to protect the trees from the cows, they weave the bamboo. So we kind of taken that idea into a structure, which also filters the light, which also allows the breeze to come through instead of blocking it. Naturally, when you live by the coast or in a tropical, this is how traditionally people used to build, where you don't block the air which kind of goes through the building. So then, there's no problem of the moldiness and, keep the space fresh. It's a 6-bedroom villa with a courtyard and one, master suite. That's how we created it, where a family or a group can rent the entire property, or 7 different rooms can be rented separately. That was the concept. You can see the woven bamboo as the kind of a underside of the roof, which is completely locally made. It's a local technique. Next. That's the courtyard of the main villa, where it's a common space. All the 6 room people will come to use this space as a pantry to make a coffee or something like that. Next. That's one of the rooms. Each room, the vibe or the energy is kind of done in a different way. So it gives a different feel instead of the same kind of interiors. Next. That's a water tank tower, where from top of the, we created a deck to get a view of the distant view of the ocean and the rainforest. Next. The whatever the work we're seeing, it's completely done by our team, with carpenters and the masons and the plastering people. So when you have a team of your own, you have a better control on the process, on the timeline, and even the quality of the project. Next. This is one more room with a double height and a day bed on top, which is rendered with the cement and lime mixed walls, which no maintenance at all. You don't have to paint it. And also weathers well in time. Next. This is one more room with a private courtyard and a daybed. So it's, when in any tourism place, it's all about experience. How do you create it? So as an architect, how do we create an experience? It's not just the natural beauty or a heritage structure, why they come to, as a tourist. Within this place, how can we, give that experience? So this is purely tropical, so we wanted to give the tropical feel, outdoor living, instead of kind of getting locked inside a room and not coming out. So here it encourages you to come out, and enjoy the nature and things like that. Next. Next. This is the master suite, which is it's a separate structure. The entire envelope is done with the woven bamboo slats, which is also completely, it's on a pivot. So you can open it. It becomes a pavilion. It's like a box you open or close. And even in the night, when the lights are on inside, the entire building looks like a kind of a Chinese lantern. It glows. And in the daytime, the outer sunlight, it filters through and come inside. Next. That's the indoor shot when the windows or the wall panels are like open. Next. And this place has a plunge pool. This is a shot taken from the plunge pool into the living room. So you kind of, it's more like a pavilion. You don't enclose your structure, but there's an option you can completely enclose it for your privacy and stuff like that. So we see that, in our old structure where people used to live outdoors and have verandas. So, we always ask a question, why do we block it today? Why do we just completely seal it without getting the nature into the building? Next. That's the spa. It's a small massage place. Next. This is one more project. The Jalakara was on the east coast of India. This project is on the west coast of Karnataka. Next. Here, that's the site. Our client owns this patch of beach. It's almost like a private beach, where he wanted to build a house for himself. Where other side of the beach, he runs an NGO and stuff like that. We also helped him to build that. I'm not showing the NGO buildings in this presentation. In this project, it was a challenging site, even though truck wouldn't go till the side. So there's almost 700 to 800 meters of head loading. And nearest shop to buy anything for our team was almost 1.5 kilometers or 2 kilometers of uphill walk. So we said, okay, why don't we build pretty much prefab? So in our office, we have a workshop, carpentry workshop. So this project, we build a few blocks. Some of the blocks we built completely in our workshop, and we fixed it on site. There's a main house, which is 75% built in our workshop. 25, we built it on the site. Next. That's some of the images. You can see on the right top is the model, working model of the house, where again, in our observation in the coast of Karnataka, where in the monsoon, people who build the houses on the coast, so they kind of cover the entire building with a woven coconut leaf or a plastic sheet. So here, and also when you do that, there's not enough light coming inside. Even in the daytime, they kind of turn the lights on. So we wanted to tackle this issue using a translucent wall. The entire wall becomes a louver, where even in monsoon, you can keep it open. You can allow the air to come inside, and it's not dark. So this entire project is kind of worked like that. You can see right bottom is the sample wall which we created. It's a multi-wall polycarbonate sheet instead of a glass. We use the polycarbonate because there is a cavity, almost 4 layers of cavity, which kind of, it improves the thermal comfort of the space. Next. This is this house is built completely on stilt. Again, eucalyptus trunks and treated coconut floor rafters. Next. This is the prefab, which is the next structure which I'm going to show. This is an outhouse, extra bedroom we built for the client to entertain his guest and stuff like that. This is our workshop where we build the entire structure. And also there was a bit of challenge I took in this project with my client. He's a lover of Bali architecture and Indonesian architecture, where he's almost ordered a wooden house from Indonesia, where I came to know. I told him, why don't you give us, our carpenters, an opportunity? Why you have to go to Canada or Indonesia to buy wooden houses when we have our own carpenters and we can use the. So he kind of really encouraged us to do this. So this is our first project as a prefab, which we've done in our workshop. That's the night shot. The next. So we kind of, structurally, we work the lighting with a very minimal LED lighting, which kind of gives the indirect light. So it's kind of good exercise for us to work like this. Here, the roofs are coconut timber again, and the floorboards, which is a hardwood treated, and again from Karnataka. Next. Next. This is some of all the furniture is done in our workshop. Next. Next. That's the recent image of that cottage where the landscaping, everything kind of came up. And the right side picture is the open to sky a shower to enjoy the shower experience in the in the nature with complete privacy taken care. Next. Moving to a next project, which is again it's a guest house in Nilgiris, which is in Tamil Nadu, the other state of next to us. For an NGO, wanted to build a guest house. Come back, please. This slide. Yeah. Come back. That's the site. You can see where the client had or the NGO had the tea garden. So they wanted to build a 6-bedroom with other services and stuff for that on a slopey site. Very tough site because the road was quite narrow. We didn't want to, we couldn't get a lot of material from outside. So we said, okay, why don't we use the whatever the earth we cut, we'll make our own bricks. Again, same approach. We use a lot of recycled material like doors, complete doors and windows, or even the tiles. Some of the wood which we use is recycled, and we made our own bricks. And also here, we didn't want to cut the earth so much, so we built it on the stilts because in a tea garden, what happens, before you set up a tea garden, you need to cut trees because you can't have a lot of shade for the teas. So this, soil bearing capacity over the years have kind of lost. So we were kind of scared of not to cut the earth and damage it so much. So in monsoon, it will kind of slide. So next. Next. Yeah, that's the view of the site. So we, the other image, we're clearing wherever we are building. Next. Again, this is the sketch of the house. How we built it on the slope, and again in winter it's get temperature up to 8 degrees, so it get really cold for an Indian standard. We had to study how people used to build again. What is the kind of wall thickness, what kind of window openings towards the south and towards the north and the east. So next. That's some of the images of the site. Again, it's a load-bearing structure we've created. You can see, we cleaning the old Mangalore tiles, and left bottom is the recycled windows, and using bamboo for the railing. So it's always fun for us to involve all these craftsmen and looking at what is available locally instead of thinking from what I can get from 500 kilometers, or I really like one material but it's available 1,000 kilometers away. So instead of that, we go with a very open mind to the site and look around, and based on the client brief and how people is to build around, how we want to build it. So that's when kind of the real form will come into play. Next. Next. This is just before the landscaping, getting done. Next. This is a shot just before the landscaping when the building is done. This is the shot taken in the monsoon. Yeah, again, we had to do a permaculture garden and train the local people, and this again belongs to the Adivasi or the tribal welfare NGO. So right now at least 6 or 7 staff who work in this house are trained. They were construction laborers, helpers. They kind of upgraded into maintaining the house and as a cook and stuff for that. So next. The exposed adobe wall, even though it's a heavy monsoon area, we kind of had created a large overhang of roof to protect the walls and a raised plinth. You can see again the eucalyptus trees. Nilgiri, you get a lot of eucalyptus trees, which is cheaper, and also it has a kind of a perfection with imperfection, which is straight, but it's not straight. We work with that the philosophy where we didn't want to have everything like a straight line and very crisp. We allow it the curves and the natural shape of the material to decide the form and the feel of the building. Next. 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 That's the living and dining, which is it's a pavilion again with the fireplace, the massive fireplace in the center. Next. That's the kind of view from the building, the Nilgiris. Next. That's the basic picture of the interior. Next. Again, the same, life happens in verandas. So we kind of create in any project a lot of open spaces with the roof protection and stuff like that. Next. That's the community which kind of helped to build this, the entire project. And after this, the few community people came forward and said, okay, can you build a house for us with a similar style? It's really nice. We can relate to this building. And after that, I'm going to show some of projects of with the tribal community what we worked in the later stage. Next. Yeah, so till now this is a project with the client where there was a fee involved and there's a commitment from our side or from the client side. In our practice, we also balance it with work with people who can't afford an architect or who never even heard about a word called architects. So this is one project, low-income group housing in northmost tip of Karnataka, which is Bidar, for a budget of 3 to 5 lakh rupees or 500,000 rupees per house. And next. So there are about 10 prototypes we worked out. 10 clients, beneficiaries, where we studied their living condition and their site available. We kind of worked around what is the required. So it's not one project for us, it's 10 projects. And using the local material, which is the laterite stone, and so it was quite a challenging task. We didn't go as just architects, it's beyond architects to kind of understand their problem, their temptation towards the modern architecture and the society, with like a flat roof, RCC roof, and the new age aluminum or metal windows. And so we could, I won't say 100% we kind of succeeded in that, but we, for a large or majority of the kind of our input were taken, and we involved in first few prototype houses to build. Next. Yeah, these are the beneficiaries which we kind of dealt with in that village. And it's in our observation, some of the small spaces they built out of necessity, not any style or how does it look. They're so pretty and so minimalistic. So which we kind of that's our research in our practice we do. Next. This is again previous project I said in Gudulu, Tamil Nadu, where after finishing that guest house, the tribal communities, they came to us and say, we're getting some funds from the government to build these rural houses, and can you help us? So we kind of next again 12 houses. That is a photo montage of the 3D, where these tribe particularly, they used to live in the forest, where they're aware about material like bamboo and mud and straw, and also that they get to see the other houses are built close to them for the same scheme, for the LIG houses scheme, how they're building. So they have an aspiration to kind of build in a modern using modern materials. We kind of trained the entire the cluster people to how to make adobe, how to treat a bamboo. So we use bamboo because they're kind of amazing to working with bamboo, and we used mangrove tile with a slope roof because it's a tropical area. Next. Yeah, this is some of the the images of our involvement on the site and observing their houses, how they're not maintaining the houses because of the, you can see one image where they put a plastic sheet. Earlier, it used to be a thatch roof where they didn't have a work to go to. So they used to maintain their own houses, but now because of employment in tea estates and stuff like that, so their house becomes the last priority to maintain. So we kind of taken all those into consideration, and how they shouldn't get into too much of maintenance. So next. So here the major portion of the structural members are made out of adobe walls, and the infill in between are made with wattle and daub from using the treated bamboo, woven bamboo, and plaster with earth and lime mixed. Next. And also we introduced for the foundation, because in monsoon, because of the capillary action, the water comes up, the entire flooring get wet, and the moisture. So in the foundation, we had to kind of use the pond liner to arrest the moisture coming up to the building and stuff like that. These are the modern techniques and the material we kind of introduced to them. Next. This is still now, it's some of the projects and what I showed. So next is in our life, where we travel a lot in the villages, all our projects are inspired from the village houses. And so it was a constant question in our mind, like we need to do something beyond just taking pictures and using it as an inspiration to our buildings or projects. How many people get an opportunity to travel and document? So that's when we started a non-for-profit organization called Samrakshan India. As the word says, Samrakshan is conservation and stuff like that. So we started from Karnataka, where we documented, documenting vernacular houses, common man houses. Karnataka has 30 districts, so our idea is to each district, document 20 houses from 300 square foot till 30,000 square foot, with various selection criteria. And our idea is to share it among anybody who's interested. Open source, people can download our materials and things like that. This is to build an awareness among designers, build an awareness among the general public, to showcase the value of these houses, what we can learn, how to go forward. So that's the, so parallelly with architecture. So this is our research wing. Next. So this is one, Chamarajanagar is a district. We've done a recce we visited more than 40 villages. And so, right now we're doing one house per district to understand the typologies across Karnataka. And then we're going to come back and do more houses and go to other states as well. Next. This is in Hassan district, where architecture slowly changes what we, experience. Next. This is just images, recce images. I will show you some of the drawings. Next. Next. Come back, please. I think it's jumped. So with the documentation, we also conducted, and we're going to conduct post this year, the hands-on workshop for interested people and architecture students and architects to build awareness about these techniques and using. This is one of the workshop which was quite a successful. It's basics of carpentry. From the knowledge we gather from doing projects, and it helped us to come up with develop the materials to share our knowledge on joineries and what kind of wood. So this is again through Samrakshan India. So that's our idea, to conduct a lot of workshops in future to build awareness about material, technique, the planning, how they used to design, and designing process and stuff like that. Next. This is the basics of earth. To understand what is earth, we had a workshop in collaboration with the Auroville Earth Institute. Next. Yeah, I think the sheets are missing. So anyway, this is a this is the one more initiative we started apart from the NGO. It's called Kaikale. Kaikale means handcrafted, where previously for our projects, what we've done, we had to travel the country and to go to China and Indonesia and other countries to buy furniture. We couldn't find one shop where I can buy all the furniture which I like. So which was a lot of effort. Then we decided, why don't we start our own workshop to make our own furniture for our projects, and with the word of mouth. So next, we use local wood, and we get inspired from various furniture from around the world. So our practice has research wing, which is Samrakshan India, and Kaikale, which is a making, out of, we have blacksmiths and potters and carpenters and cane weavers. So we're getting into the bottom of it. How can we treat a bamboo? How can we, because in a country like India, we need to do everything ourselves. It's not easy to buy a treated timber like in Indonesia, where you do get like off the shelf treated timber, or in Europe or in the West. But in India, it's so hard, if you want to buy or use Indian timber, if you want to import it, of course you get a treated timber. So we set up our own plant, and we have a control and an understanding of material, what material we're using, and things like that. Next. This is some of the furniture which we made, and for our projects we make our own furniture, lampshades. We also get into stitching curtains and a lot of the things. We wanted to expand our kind of limit to doing many more things instead of buying from a shop whatever is possible. It's not mass produced, because every client come with, I want my house or a building to be very unique, really. So we say, like, whatever material we use or fixtures, it's like you get to see in other 1,000 homes in the country. How can you make it like very unique? So next. Yeah, thank you for opportunities. And again, this is the last quote which we always get inspired from. To be truly modern, we must first reconcile with our tradition, as Octavia Paz said. So in our journey, where a lot of people ask me question like, are you building traditional architecture or modern architecture? What? Like, we don't know. It's our process where, we're taking the past. The country like India, we have so much history, and, we can't forget that. And also the nature, the ecology. So it's a mix of, our practice is a mix of taking the past and the craft, and the lifestyle have changed. We can't live the way how people used to, our parents of, grandparents used to live. We are going towards the, the forward. So how do we blend all this? Again, respect the local architecture, where in our projects, we don't want to, build something what has been built in Singapore or in Dubai. We want to build something, familiar with the local. And the expression is, it's not just as an architect, it's based on the client and the material available, the, who's going to build it. It's a residue of this entire ingredients come together. So that's the style of, work we kind of, expressing through our work. And only, also we kind of, consciously we've stopped taking, or we are not doing any kind of city projects, because we try to kind of travel to any nook and corner of the country where which the site challenges us, because the context is different, the material is different, the skill set, the language is different. As an architect, that's how we learn, only through by doing, by, throwing yourself into the challenge too. So that's our journey so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yanto and Ajit, for sharing your beautiful work. Both have roots in the vernacular, both with material interest, but different manifestations of it. It also melds your multiple interests, and each of your work is a personal narrative. Participating and learning from diverse work and approaches from the region is key to the efforts of Design United. So we're really very grateful to both you as well as Yanto for sharing your work. With this, we now open our session out for conversation. We request the audience to please share your feedback for our speakers as well as your questions. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our two moderators for this conversation. Joining us from Surat and Nashik, India, are Maitri Shah, a practicing architect from Surat who graduated from CEPT University in 2018. She has interned with Andagere Architects in Sri Lanka and has been a teaching associate at CEPT University. Our second moderator, Spandan Devi, is a recent graduate from the Brick School of Architecture, Pune, and has interned with architect Fernando Menes in Spain. He is interested in exploring links between architecture and music. Spandan joins us from Nashik, his hometown. Welcome, Spandan and Maitri. With this, we can move to the conversation segment of the talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Varna, for such a kind introduction. And thank you both the architects for sharing such an inspiring work with us. I have a question for Architect Yanto. As the term modern architecture has evolved with time, what important aspects for you in modern design that prompts the building adaptability in terms of its form, material, and the design approach?
Okay, so for me is every time we start a new design, what we can get is we study the site. We go to the site and we study the site thoroughly. So I think from the site itself, we can get something to give us some parameter for the design. And then the second part is also the programs from the clients, because all these things should have a feedback for us. Otherwise, we design with nothing to start. So the climate, the site itself, the potential, and the setback of the site, and then some programmatic that is required from the clients. This is what we gel it up to become a solution for the design. And then if at that certain chance we have a certain concept that we can apply to the design, then we infuse the concept to add up the story or narrative to the design we're creating. I think that's will differentiate each of the projects, because we build in a specific site and a specific constraint.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thanks a lot, Yanto sir and Ajit sir, for such a wonderful lecture. My question is for Architect Ajit sir. The spaces what we saw today in the presentation makes one feel constantly rooted and reminds us of our tradition. Yet, as you mentioned, it also adds a layer of a modern comfort space with the current times. So my first question being, where does the vernacular design approach stand in contemporary times? And what are the constants, and where is it that you break the rule of a typical vernacular structure?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in my talk previously, like, our lifestyle have changed definitely, where, earlier if you look at any houses, the rooms are really small, where the kitchen would go, on the rear side of the house because of the social structure in the society. But today, as the lifestyle, the space management have changed. You get to see everywhere, and also the personal private houses to a public building to a building which is in a farm to a building which is in a town. It kind of requires a different approach. Here, my quest is like you can still create a modern or a contemporary structures using the very, very basic, simple material. For example, if you go anywhere in the world, if you look at buildings 100 or 200 or 300 or even 50-year-old structure, they have used only 3 or 4 primary materials, right? But they've created such a beautiful structures. Today, there are thousands or hundreds of material available around the world in our fingertips to use, but we're still not able to, create that, have the beauty in the buildings, or, we're trying to overdo things. So, definitely taking the context and the weather into consideration, and that becomes the result should become a residue. For example, today a lot of the time, wherever you see, we create a problem first, then try to solve it. That's when all this, for example, Bangalore. You take an example of Bangalore airport. Of course, Airport Authority of India have some protocols. You need to have an air-conditioned space and blah, blah, blah. But Bangalore has such a beautiful weather. Do you think we couldn't use natural materials or a mix of both and build the Bangalore airport for Bangalore weather, instead of Zurich or Singapore weather? So this airport can be anywhere in the world. It's not in Bangalore. So the moment we start asking this question, and also sometimes, we ask ourselves, there is a site and there is a client. If we were like taken back 100 years ago, where there was no technology, how we would have built it for the today's lifestyle? If you start thinking, the solution will come into play. You see, not in architecture, it can be in food, it can be in fabric, it can be in art. We stop thinking. In our jury or in our, when we explain to the client, we say, okay, here I'm going to use the glass, here I'm going to use the steel. That's the material, instead of saying, I need a transparency, I need a material which, gives you a transparent, but glass is not the only material. Then you work out what are the other options. For example, in Yemen or even in France, there are rammed structure, built 8 floors or 6 floor tall rammed structure. How did they do it? It's withstood 200 years, right? And also, in architects in Austria have, made the rammed earth as a prefab. It's fantastic. This required an innovation from architects, engineers, and, innovation is the key to take the vernacular material and the, essence of the local style of the, when you say veranda can be treated in a very, very different ways. For example, even in modern structure, we all do courtyards. Courtyard is a vernacular space. How do you kind of, add an essence of the vernacular and with the modern lifestyle? And, that's where there is no one solution to it. It's an individual journey. Everyone has to, find their own way to, for that, a lot of observation required, a lot of reading and a lot of dialogue, asking question with your, whoever, have the more knowledge than you on that subject. So that's when you kind of, in every architect's life, it's a journey, So I think our approach is to ask questions. Our approach is to tell ourselves that, okay, we don't know any modern material is available, yet we want to use the local material and build where it can be kind of accepted from the society. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of a balance we need to find if someone wants to merge both vernacular and the modernity into that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
We have questions from the audience. How do you address differently abled users in your design process?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
This
is a question for me or for Anto?
For both the architects, actually.
Okay, what is the question?
How do you address differently abled people in the design, in your design?
See, there's no one answer to it. It's definitely your movement, the height of the building, like even your, where do you sit, where do you stand, even the bathrooms, it's like basically following the standards. We have a standard which we have to follow. We can't play with it. Apart from that, it doesn't play a very, very major role in the design. The heights and keeping, as one level as possible. In our design, at least, we don't work with too many levels, and especially when it comes to homes. Home is a place where it's to be lazy. You don't want to think so much. You don't want too many levels to come up and down. So you just create one level, but bring in nature. So for disabled, of course, following the standards and have the safety and stuff for that. Yeah.
Architect Yanto, you want to?
I didn't get the questions actually. Sorry.
So the question is, how do you address differently abled people in your design?
Differently?
Disabled people in your design.
Oh, disabled people. Okay, okay. So I think for disabled people, we have the certain standards. Yeah. I mean, disabled, especially in public building. If it is if we're designing for houses, I think we have to consider only the majority of the residentials there. But we only provide the disabled standards for the guests to come into the semi-private area at the maximum. But for public building, I think for public space, we still have to follow the standards in order for the certain disabled people to come into the our buildings to like they can go around and travels, especially to the first elevators to go up to the other story of the buildings. I think we have to cater that as a standard for disabled.
Okay. Thank you. We have one more question for Architect Ajit. You spoke about the importance of an experiential architecture along with visually pleasing elevations. Does the prefabrication process also help in understanding an architecture which brings an experiential quality when compared to on-site building?
See, when it comes to prefab structure, it has its own limitations. But in our practice, we don't kind of really draw elevations. You know, where the elevation, it's a kind of, as I said, it's a residue of your, you know, the process. Again, you know, like how do you fill in a soul into the building? You know, our thing is, you know, as I spoke, you know, adding the scuff and the material and, you know, very, very subtle, not a very kind of a, you know, loud material or a, you know, trying to bring in a discipline, very humble approach. And most of our projects, you don't, even if it is a small house, you don't get to see that building because it's covered with a lot of green but when it comes to prefab, yes, our approach will be the same. Based on the material what we use, you know, there is some limitations, but it's not so much. Again, it's all the, you know, what you want to achieve. If you really want to achieve something, there's a possibility you can achieve anything. So prefab doesn't kind of stop us. And there is an idea why they want to go with a prefab, you know. So there is a complete different approach in terms of construction, but the space-wise, no, I don't think is there a lot of difference in that. The prefab, you know, you don't live in a house because it's a prefab or an in situ. It's like, it's a house at the end of the day. You know, for again, whether we use a rammed earth or a Adobe, it's at the end of the material. The quality of space, you know, if you build a mud house, it's not necessarily have to look beautiful, right? It's again, you need to blend the space quality and the design value and blending the material together. Then only it becomes a 360 experience.
Yeah. So one question I would like to ask to Architect Yanto. There's always been a debate between theory and practice. So I wanted to ask, how much do you think theory plays a role in a practical world? And how should schools and colleges approach towards balancing this difference of theory and practical?
Okay. There's some criteria of the theories also. If theory can become a theory of a philosophical, and then sometimes it is a theory of a more scientific, like what we call it, building physics, thermodynamics of that. This kind of theory is actually what I'm still learning until now. I'm still using the theory for my practice, because sometimes when we practice, we find some problems. We try to find solutions. Once we try to find some solutions, we would simply come back to the theory and we learn something from the books. So for me, in practice, I would relate the theory as problem solving for the current projects that I'm doing. So each theory can really give me a chance to improve the design, and then when it comes to the next projects, this improvement I can bring it to the next knowledge that I can learn, and it can be backed up with another theory also that I can learn from the books that I read. But I think the theory is simply used to back up your certain solutions for the project at that certain moment you do the projects. That's for me.
I would like to ask one question for both of them. So for an architect, travels and observations helps us shape our own practice. So if you could elaborate your experiences of travels and spaces which has moved you and has stood as a constant inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. In school, you learn just the basic tools for 5 years. Travel really helps us. Especially in India. Where after bachelor's, I had an opportunity to do my master's from a very reputed university in US. I've kind of said no because it was a good opportunity for me to pursue my master's. Then I said no. I'm going to study in a university. It's called India, where the duration is lifetime. So that's why I travel a lot wherever the opportunity comes, and definitely in my practice, travel and observation, it helped us so much. So you train yourself. Imagine you have just 1 hour time or 2 hours time when you go to a new site. That 1 hour journey or 2 hour journey, you're kind of scanning everything, how people are building, what is the scale, what is the slope of the roof, what is the material they've used, new building, old building. So you kind of understand the skill set of that local area. So you already your designing is happening. When you go to the site, you you get a flash of idea. This is how it has to develop. So, and the spaces, I don't have one particular space which kind of moved me. Anything, it can be a town. Even Hampi was one of my favorite places where the kind of energy, even I had an office in Hampi for almost 1.5 years in my travel before I ending up in Margati. Like I had 7 office spaces in the last 18 years, moving from site to different places to understand, observe, for example, now where we live, we understand what is rain, what is, ants, what is termites, and what is the cold. And, it's a direct issues we need to face, we will face in projects. We may not live there, but the client are going to face the same problem. How do we tackle it? So, yeah, the Hampi is one place, and the whole country or the whole world, I would say, even for example, Japan, it's a good, or Bali, I visited Bali. How in Balinese they kept the connection between the past and the present, and that becomes a style. For example, Bali has a style, Sri Lanka has a style, or Thailand has a style in architecture, or Japanese. But do we Indians have an Indian style? Globally? No. We can't have one style as well because it's a vast country, and so yeah, any old structures, any old spaces, any with a historical kind of background definitely moves me in time. Yeah.
And for architect Yanto?
Okay, I think what Ajit said is very, very right for me, because travels also can upgrade your experience. Because if you don't get to see and travels, you don't get to see the city, other people's other people's country, other people's lifestyle, other people's way of living. And then some more, if you're architects, you will be traveling to the buildings that you like, not like not limited as a great architecture, but sometimes you go to the city, you go to visit the old buildings. I think what you cannot get from the pictures is the mood when you enter the buildings. For me, there's a certain feelings when you enter the building. There are others of our senses that is generated, not only when you see the pictures, you see the beautiful photograph, but some of the buildings is actually doesn't move you when you see the pictures, but actually when you visit that particular buildings, actually it's awesome. The space itself, the dimensions of the space, the way they finish the building with certain materials that can move your other senses. I think that's the feeling that you cannot get when you only get to see from the books. And then some more, if I travel to one building, what I can memorize is more than what I can digest from when I'm reading from the other people's like we're reading the plans, for example. You read the plans from the books, and you like to analyze it from the plans, the section, and the building itself. I think this experience is more difficult compared to when you visit that particular buildings. Once you go around the buildings and you feel the particular space, the sequence, I think once you finish going around that buildings, I think the overall concept, the overall feelings, the overall mood, the overall creations of the space, the flow and everything will be intact to your imaginations. It won't be easily forgotten. That's I feel for me is difference when you see the buildings from the papers and compare it to the feelings that you have to travel and go and see the buildings, real buildings by itself.
Yeah,
sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes the other way around. The beautiful photograph, when you go to the buildings, it actually you feel nothing. But when you see the buildings in a photograph, which is like a simple things, but you visit the building itself, is really awesome. Sometimes it can be these kind of things happens to you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Yanto, because one example I'll give you, especially Jeffrey Bauer's architecture from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Look at a picture, it's like, it's
correct.
not wow. It's not wow.
Yeah,
it's like,
correct.
okay, it can be, it's very anonymous. It doesn't give you like it's done by an architect. It can be a village building. And also, there's one example, visiting Lunuganga, for example, where I almost cried. It's like the heights of sensibility this guy has created out of, a normal land. And when you talk about Lunuganga, you don't, picture a building photographs. It, more of an intangible, the experience, what you felt, what you felt like when you're walking on that, the main door, when you opened up the polished black oxide flooring, and suddenly, when you look out into the, horizon with a, it's like experience, absolutely. So unfortunately, when I see, a lot of young architects who kind of, they get stuck to a form, like, form follow the function. It should be the right way instead of, a lot of people, we try to, do other way around. We have a form, we try to fit in a lot of function to it. It's a, only when you kind of start visiting this kind of structures, it not necessarily have to be an architect design. It can be any simple structure, that experience, at the end of the day, even a school building or a, it's a house. When you enter, you see the elevation for once. You live the whole day or you spend the whole day inside. It all matters. How do you feel inside? How does the space? So I think it's more of, understanding the intangible than the tangible. So that gives you a control on both macro and micro level, kind of doing any project as such. So the traveling is the key. As I said, observation is the key, reading the plan, visiting the place, and not get carried away with how that building looks from outside. From inside out, how it looks more important than from outside inside. So, yeah.
Thank you. I guess that's it. We will be wrapping up the moderation session right now. Thank you so much for the architect Ajit and architect Yanto.
Thank
It
you
was
so
really
much.
wonderful.
Thank you.
I really learned a lot today. Ajit also.
Same. And
I love your material using. Really love to learn something from you.
Thank you. And I hope the participants also enjoyed both of us work. And yeah.
Thank you, architects, for your wonderful presentation and conversation today. Thanks to the very enthusiastic moderators. There are so many more audience questions which they will be sharing with you via Instagram and creating a continued conversation with audience who've been a part of this. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but excellent work and excellent presentation. Thank you to the audience for participating. Have a good evening and see you next week. Kavindu from the Design United team will share the upcoming series of events. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parna. Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you, Spandan.
Thank you.
And then thank you, Maitri.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ajit, also for the
Thank
good
you all,
sharings.
and,
okay.
Definitely. We'll be in touch.
Wish you keep in touch again.
Sure.
Sure. Thank you. Oh yeah, Parna, say my regards to Palinda, yeah?
Definitely. We hope to have you all visit and to really have a proper conference,
sure,
not really
like
only
to.
a digital one.
I would like to. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Kavindu will
keep in touch.
Share our upcoming events. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Architect Yanto and Ajit, for your wonderful presentations today. Thank you for our moderators, Maitri and Spandan, for an interesting and thought-provoking conversation. We'd like to extend our gratitude to ClearWorks for supporting this webinar and all of our future webinars. So far, Design United has successfully completed 30 installments of design conversations, and we have many more exciting speakers lined up, with designers across the spectrum joining us to share their thoughts. Next week, we're joined by Aditi Batra, Vishwa Shroff, along with Nia and Priya in the design conversation. In November, we're joined by multidisciplinary designers. We're pleased to have Studio Karam, the spectacular engineer Deepal Vikramasinghe, who's worked with the late Jeffrey Bawa on his Kandalama Hotel. He will be talking about the restoration on the Benthura Hotel. Along with Deepal, we will have the renowned Indian engineer Manjunath with 2 inspiring structural designers. Do also fill in a feedback form that will pop up on your browser about today's webinar. Join us and stay inspired. And so follow us on our social media for our upcoming conversations. Until next time, thank you, stay safe and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We request Architect Ajit and Yanto to stay back, and we can use the feedback on the sessions. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, Architect Ajit and Architect Yanto, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So if you could just give us some feedback on the session, that today's session, and what you think of DU as a platform in general, if you've got any thoughts.
Oh, okay. For me, this kind of webinars from electronic webinars like this is growing very fast during this pandemic. For me, it's been a new experience and wonderful time to get this kind of webinars running around, especially in Jakarta. I think in Jakarta nowadays, starting around April last few months, there's been a lot of this kind of regularity of webinars, which I feel before the pandemic, if we want to go for a seminar or for a discussion, we have to spend, and especially in Jakarta, I don't know in your place, but we have to travel like another 1.5 hours or 2 hours to get to the seminar, and then we sit there for around 1 and 2 hours, and then we go back, have to travel another 2 hours, which for me, I find it a bit difficult to allocate the time for this seminar. Like as now, this kind of webinars can happen after office hours, like starting at 7 o'clock in my time, Jakarta time, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. which I can easily slot in my time to listen to other people's sharing their own opinions and their own approach of design, which I feel this kind of platform should be kept maintained regular. From me, I heard from Design United also have this kind of regularity in performing with the webinars. Here in Jakarta, we have two platforms which is now regularly presenting the like every weeks or every alternative 2 weeks they have this kind of webinars happening in Jakarta. I think my feedback is it's a positive sharing sessions. We should keep up this kind of webinars happening.
Thank you, Yanto.
Oh, just now is it unmute? Sorry.
We could hear you.
We could hear you.
Mine was unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, this attending or as talking in a webinar, this is the first time I'm not in touch with a lot of the webinars which happens. Keep getting messages, but one is I don't have time. Two is but today is if I put myself as one of the participants, it's a fantastic opportunity with this where restricted time where we can't travel to attend or see any buildings. In that way, this is a fantastic and very positive about it, and I'm really congratulate and thanks the entire team to set this up, and where sitting at our home we can see anybody which we haven't heard of as names and stuff like that. So as a time, yes, always in talks time is always less. You kind of talk about your works, but personally I need to kind of train myself to stick to the 30 minutes and stuff like that. But our kind of work is very difficult to explain everything in 30 minutes. It's kind of something which I need to learn. Otherwise, yeah, it's a way forward, and I will definitely try to make time to being a participant in the next coming weeks, the speakers, where it's a lot of information. Otherwise, as Verna was speaking earlier, like we don't get to talk about our work or somebody else's work with in our community of architects. So this is a kind of a good initiative. It's a really good initiative.
Thank you so much, Architect Ajit and Architect Yanto. It was such an honor having both of you on our platform today. And I'd like to thank Maitri and Spandan also for doing a really good job moderating. With that, we will conclude our webinar today, and we hope to stay connected with all of you because at the end of the day, DU is about connections. So please do stay connected with us, and we look forward to speaking to you soon again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, good luck.